listening to Overwatch League Daily, your daily source for Overwatch League news, scores, and more. Here's your host, KickedTripod.
Hey, good morning, Overwatch League fans. This is your Overwatch League Daily episode for May 10th, 2018. Today I'm joined by Overwatch League analyst Bren to discuss some big Stage 3 and 4 themes. But first, here's what's going on in Overwatch League. The first phase of voting for the Overwatch World Cup concludes on May 14th. Make sure to cast your vote for your country's committee and coaches. Not coincidentally, I am campaigning for the community lead for the United States World Cup team. If you like the content like this and you want to see more of it for the World Cup, click on the links in the show notes to vote for me. The Overwatch League announced the date, time, and location of the Overwatch League Grand Finals. The season playoffs will take place over July 11th through the 21st at Blizzard Arena. When we have our final two teams, we will head to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York on July 27th and 28th, where those two teams will face off in a best-of-3 series. The first team to win 2 best-of-5 series will be the inaugural season champion. Matches begin on July 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 2-day tickets will go on sale Friday, May 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Ticketmaster.com and BarclaysCenter.com. On tomorrow's episode, I'll be sitting down with a few members of the Boston Uprising while they are out touring Boston, so don't miss that episode as well. Now let's get into my conversation with Bren. Hey Bren, welcome back to the show. I want to jump right in here and talk about Stage 3. As far as records go and map differential, we saw one of the most evenly spread stages that we've seen so far, with the best teams having lower map differentials and the worst team having better map differentials. So overall, were you happy with how Stage 3 turned out?
I would say yes. I'm pretty happy with the way Stage 3 turned out. I think a lot of teams really proved themselves. They grew into their own. It's the last time I'm going to be seeing that sort of dive, Mercy sort of poke-orientated meta game. Maybe for quite some time. I don't know if we're going to be seeing it in Stage 4. But I think the entire stage produces some fantastic matches. Wasn't too happy with the finals though. It was nice that we had both LA teams and we had Boston, New York, because it's always hyped to see the LA teams fight because the crowd gets so hyped up. But the finals, a little bit lackluster. It turns out New York were just sandbagging the entire time, apparently. But I think overall it was very good. We've been experimenting with new things on the desk, new setups, as in the way we were going to be structuring the desk, and I think we're really starting to streamline it now, and it's lovely actually. We're improving more and more as we get into the league.
So speaking of Boston, it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but nobody really expected Boston to go 10-0 in this stage, let alone the inaugural season. In the previous two stages, they went 6-4. Do you think that Stage 3 was a fluke for Boston, or do you think that this is a team that will continue to perform at a similar level at the top of Overwatch League?
I actually personally believe that this team is really going to struggle. Maybe I'm exaggerating. They are going to struggle, though, in Stage 4. Definitely not exaggerating that part. This is a team that they've built their entire identity around Mercy, around maps that support the long-range poking playstyle. They love to play the Widowmaker Tracer style, relying on Striker a lot of the time, relying on their team's aggressive, well-executed dives. They play very methodically. This is going to turn them up on their heads. They have not had time to really practice on it. Boston are a fantastic team, but only because they are very well prepared. And now we're going into a meta game on heroes that they're most likely going to be uncomfortable on, in a meta that they're uncertain of. They might just try and play the exact same style that they've always been playing, but they will struggle, I feel. If they try and play like a dive with a Winston into this, they're not going to be looking too hot. And I don't know how good Gamsu's Reinhardt is as well, so big question marks really for Boston.
So I know this question might bleed into your first answer a little bit about just kind of overall your thoughts on Stage 3, but I want to more specifically ask about the meta. Did you think that we saw a pretty healthy meta in Stage 3?
I love that Mercy is enabling Widowmaker compositions. I love that we're seeing sick Widowmaker players because, I come from a background of Team Fortress 2, but I also cast Dota and I also play MOBAs, so as well as my FPS background. So I always love that we have this mix of pure mechanical skill and strategy, this macro level strategy, cooldown usage, all the rest all mixed into the one perfect game. I think it's fantastic. So I was really happy with the way this meta went. We got to see some super skillful players really excel. We got to see Boston and New York just break away from the rest of the pack when it comes to their understanding of the meta game. And we saw a lot of good performances and upsets from the rest of it. So I'm very happy with the meta that we've had.
I've got one more Stage 3 question for you, and then I want to ask you a bit about Stage 4. So this is the third time I've had you on between stages, and every time I ask you who your stage MVP is. So for Stage 3, who was your MVP and why?
I am actually stuck for... There's so many good players. Jonak is a fantastic choice, but at the same time, I kind of want to go Striker, but it didn't end up winning the playoffs, but it was still super impressive. The fact that they managed to get the 14 game win streak, that is fantastic from Boston. I'm going to go with Striker. He ended up losing the title of best tracer in the league to Sabiobi in the finals, but I believe that Striker, his incredibly consistent gameplay throughout the entire season, really sets him above a lot of other players when it comes to that category. Jonak is a close second, I think. Sabiobi a close third. The only reason I don't say Sabiobi, I guess I don't really have a legit reason other than from the eye test. I would still consider Striker, I think, to be a better tracer when it comes to predicting enemies, whereas Sabiobi is very much reactive. You watch the way he plays, he's got erratic, he instantly reacts to plays, whereas Striker seems to always be a couple of steps ahead.
So let's talk about Stage 4. You said you were happy with the Stage 3 meta and Stage 3 overall. Things can change at any moment, but are you concerned at all about Brigitte as we draw near to Stage 4, or any other overall concerns for the Stage 4 meta?
For one, change isn't necessarily a bad thing. I know I put out a tweet recently saying Brigitte needs to be changed. She needs some numbers tweaked. I know for a fact that, on the PTI, I believe she has nerfed, or maybe even live now, she has been nerfed. Do I have concerns about the meta? Not really. I think it's going to be interesting to see something different other than Dive. We've been watching Dive for the past year and a half, and I love Dive. This is coming from a Genji Tracer Widowmaker main. I love Dive. I love playing it. I love watching it. But it's nice to have a change of pace every now and then. Stage 4 is going to be bringing this. I do have concerns that we may see a team that has already been knocked out of playoffs become really good at this particular metagame, and they won't have an opportunity to qualify for playoffs. That is my one major concern. Other than that, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what Brigitte can do, because at the end of the day, she is very powerful right now. She has a ridiculous win rate. But we do need to consider as well is that a lot of these heroes, when they're introduced, they often are looked over in favor of the old metagame, because teams like to play what they're more comfortable with until one team figures it out, and then everyone else kind of copies that strategy. That's what I've seen, at least over the course of the entirety of the history of Overwatch, because I've been here from the beginning. I might not have been cast in the beta days, but that was because I didn't have a beta key. Trust me, I would have been cast in that. But that's what I've always noticed, one of the reoccurring themes across Overwatch history.
So only one team, NYXL, has been in the playoffs for Stage 3. That was also in the playoffs for Stage 2. Obviously, they're in the playoffs for Stage 1 as well. Do you have any dark horse picks for a team that maybe hasn't qualified for the playoffs recently that could in Stage 4?
The easy guess here, and it's not even a dark horse, is probably going to be Seoul. Dynasty. Seoul Dynasty, Seoul Dynasty, it depends. I'm becoming Americanized, so I'm saying Dynasty a lot. Or is it Dynasty? I actually cannot tell which is the proper way to say it anymore. Seoul, they haven't qualified yet. They are still in the playoffs. They are still in the top 6, I believe. Let me double check that, actually. I could be completely wrong. I could have changed. I hope not. Let me double check. Standings, you fool. Come on. They're waiting. No, they dropped down to 7th. But they are currently tied with London, who are in 6th. They're just losing on the map differential. So, yeah, Seoul, I think, is probably going to be the easiest answer there.
All right, you have called this upon yourself. You've tweeted this a few times. You are the self-proclaimed Oracle of Overwatch. So, who wins Stage 4?
Do I have news for you, KickedTripod? Because I know all the business. The Oracle, he can see in the future, in the past. The Oracle refers to himself in the third person, or even the second person, as I am right now. Just because I can see all timelines. I can see all possibilities. So, when the Oracle claims that he always knew this team was going to win, I'm going to be honest with you. I see all timelines. I never really know for certain which team is going to be winning. But who is going to be winning Stage 4? Well, I'm going to take a wild guess and go down the list here and say NYXL. Very controversial, that one. Very controversial pick. But I think that will be the case. Probably because they've just won the last 2 stages, and I feel like this is currently the best team in the league. So there's my pick for that one, and I bid you adieu.
Well, there you have it. The Oracle of Overwatch has spoken. Very controversial prediction on NYXL. My thanks to Bren for joining me. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at BrenCast. And of course, you can check him out casting Overwatch League or analyzing Overwatch League at overwatchleague.com, twitch.tv/Overwatch League, and all that good stuff. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for my interview with the Boston Uprising. That's going to be really cool. And I've got fish sticks lined up for Saturday. Great week of episodes. So definitely make sure to tune in this week. That's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Overwatch League Daily.